Hey YouTube, Motor Racing Network, Steve Post here. Another great Diecast review show. We are so glad you joined us. So excited about what's going on in the Diecast world and excited what's going on in NASCAR as well. Saturday night, Kentucky Speedway. How about Brad Keselowski? A bizarre race up at Kentucky, but when it was done, Keselowski scored his second consecutive victory. It was his 21st career win, and what's amazing about it, 6 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series races at Kentucky, and Brad Keselowski has 50% of them in victory lane, 3 of 6 at Kentucky. So Brad certainly has that place figured out, and it was a big night for him in, like I said, a bizarre race. That was wild toward the end, trying to figure out what was happening. Of note in that race, Tony Stewart, a 5th place run. We talked about Tony a few weeks ago getting that win at Sonoma and now getting to the top 30 in points. Well, he's inside the top 30 in points. Now he's getting that wiggle room to get further away from 31st in points. Should a bad race, a wreck, or an engine failure jump up and trip him up, he will have some wiggle room now. And oh, by the way, they're performing very, very well. When you look at Daytona, they were running well. Of course, Daytona's unique. They won Sonoma. Great race up in Michigan. Very strong at Pocono. So Tony Stewart's got that 14 car rolling here in the summertime, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. That Brad Keselowski race-winning diecast car is available right now for pre-order at planbsales.com. Go to the search box up in the upper right-hand corner, type in Keselowski, Kentucky, and you'll be able to order that pre-order, that is, that race-winning diecast from Kentucky. Now it's time for our favorite part of the program. It is your questions. Right down below, type in your questions, and who knows, maybe next week on the Diecast Review Show, we'll answer your question. RacerDude994 says, who do you think gets a clutch win this season? Well, clutch wins, when I look at it, we mentioned Tony Stewart. He got a clutch win at Sonoma. When I think of other clutch wins, maybe A.J. Allmendinger can do it again at Watkins Glen. He's awful good up there. That would be a clutch win. When I think about clutch wins, I think about those guys outside of the top 15 in the points right now. And when you look at them, there's some drivers performing pretty well there. Roush Fenway Racing, a month and a half ago, I wouldn't have thought they could get a clutch win. I think it's possible for Roush Fenway Racing to get a win somewhere down the stretch here before we get into the chase. And really, that's with all 3 drivers, and I think that's what I like. What's going on at Roush Fenway Racing is Greg Biffle, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Trevor Bayne, all showing good speed across the board. So I like what's going on at Roush Fenway Racing. When I look at other clutch drivers or potential clutch wins for drivers, Casey Kane, man, we're just waiting for Casey to jump up and score a win. Kyle Larson has been so good along the way. A clutch win for him would be so good and so key as we get closer and closer to the chase. And Ryan Blaney, so strong with the Wood brothers, that would be big as well. So I don't know that we're going to have one of those clutch wins, but I think if we do, those are the likely contenders to snag a clutch victory. Joshua Kurtz writes in and says, what drivers do you think will be part of the Final 4 at Homestead in the Truck Series? Now, Joshua, I love this because I love sitting and looking at this thing and who does this good and who does that good. And here's what I think is going to be the Final 4, or who I think is going to be the Final 4. Matt Crafton, he can win races and he can score points. Remember, we talk so much about wins, but scoring points is critical to move on to the next phase of the chase. So I like Matt Crafton. William Byron, he has wins so far this season. I think William Byron moves forward. John Hunter Nemechek, I love this young racer because he seems to be able to step up at the right time. And I see John Hunter Nemechek maybe in that next to last round getting a clutch win that puts him into the final run. And a driver going back to points that's running so well, Daniel Hemrick, driving Brad Keselowski's truck. He has 8 top 10 finishes in 10 races. Again, we talk about wins, but points are going to get a guy or 2 into that final race at Homestead as well. And with points racing, I like Matt Crafton and Daniel Hemrick. So there's my 4, Crafton, Byron, Nemechek, and Daniel Hemrick. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series heads off to New Hampshire, the Magic Mile this weekend, and it is going to be fun. And we can't think about New Hampshire without thinking about 2014 up there this car, the Justin Allgaier Plan B sales race car that we had up there. One of our biggest moments here in the company, and we want to share again with you that moment of Justin wheeling our car around the racetrack. What a great day. So we have the various finishes of it, the standard finish, the liquid finish, the raw finish of this diecast available in 124 scale cars, and we have the 164 scale diecast available. So it is our favorite Sprint Cup Series car. We're biased, we understand that, but we absolutely love this car, and we still have a few available at planbsales.com. So Justin Allgaier fans, Plan B sales fans, we'd love to have you have these and add it to your collection. Take a lot of pride in having these in your collection. So we would love to see this race car in your collection. That, our future diecast, as we look forward to New Hampshire this weekend, it is the Justin Allgaier Plan B sales Chevy from 2014. And talking about New Hampshire, the Magic Mile this weekend. The first Cup Series race was there July 11th, 1993, and it was Rusty Wallace scoring the win. 42 races up at New Hampshire, so it's been one of the mainstays on the tour ever since 1993. And when we look at race winners from New Hampshire, it is a wide variety of drivers. Three-time winners: Ryan Newman, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, and Kurt Busch. When we look at two-time race winners, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, Clint Boyer. And we look at lone race winners, Brad Keselowski, Casey Kane, Kevin Harvick, and Greg Biffle. That's a lot of drivers who have tasted victory at New Hampshire. They have the big lobster trophy, the live lobster that they give the teams that win the race. And so who will hoist the trophy? The lobster in the air on Sunday afternoon. We'll tune in to see along the way. And oh, by the way, on that lobster, what they do then is they take the lobster to a taxidermy shop, and it is mounted on a plaque, but all of the great lobster meat is taken out of it, and it is sent to the team after it's frozen, and so the teams feast on their trophy after winning up at New Hampshire. One of the great traditions and one of the great racetracks, the Magic Mile at New Hampshire. Last year it was the Joe Gibbs Racing sweep of New Hampshire with Kyle Busch and Matt Kenseth scoring the win. So that wraps us up as far as going forward with one other piece of business right here, the question of the week. And I'm actually going to steal one of our questions from last week. One of our questions last week here on the Diecast Review Show was, who do you think is going to be the next driver to win? Or do you think we have another winner this season? I'm going to ask you that question. I gave my answer last week on the program. Now it's your turn. Do we get another winner in the regular season? And if we do, who is it and where? So, new winner, yes or no? And who is it and where? That's what we're looking for. Hey, thanks for joining us here on the Diecast Review Show. All your favorite diecast available at planbsales.com. Search box right up in the right-hand corner, whether it's a race winner, your favorite driver, or some specific race or diecast that you want. We have got it all for you at planbsales.com. We love that you guys are getting involved with us here on YouTube. We have the comments below. Feel free to mention your comments here. Follow us on Twitter at Plan B Sales, and we'll keep you informed on what we have. And please get some back and forth conversation going, because we love talking racing and love talking with you race fans out there, and we appreciate the business you do give us.